Hi guys, I'm just making a little celebratory video. The Properly Spanked series that has gone on for literally 8 books is finally complete. The 8th book is coming out right around now whenever I get this video produced. And I'm so happy about that. It's crazy to think that when I started the first book, 2014 was 10 years ago. So a quick and dirty review, just things that stand out in my mind. So the first book, Training Lady Townsend, had Lord Townsend and Lady Aurelia, the very proper Lady Aurelia, who had to be spanked into submission, which was quite lovely. And with that book, I always think of window seats and the grasshopper. You read it, you know. The second book, To Tame a Countess, was about the Earl of Warren and Josephine, who actually grew up in India and had kind of a interesting childhood, and they had the thing with tigers, and that was book 2. The third book, My Naughty Minette, was the Earl of Augustine actually marrying his friend's sibling. That caused a lot of tension. And I was telling people as I was rereading the books at the end to make sure everything lined up correctly, that was the one that really made me cry the most. That made me the most emotional. Just something about it just rips my heart out. With that one, obviously, I think of, playing the piano and being sad and reaching out for someone, and also The Glass Swan. And then the fourth book, of course, was Under a Duke's Hand, where we got to see the lofty Duke of Arlington marry his Welsh hellion, Gwen. Like, he was kind of went through all the books, and then at the end, he's like, okay, he's going to get married. The king told him who to marry. She was not really a big aristocrat. How is this going to work out? Well, you know how it works out. She has to get spanked a lot. So then after that, we moved on to the Properly Spanked Legacy series. Didn't happen right away, of course. I forget what I wrote in between. I want to say the Rough Love books, which would be very different than the Properly Spanked books. I'm not sure. I have to check on that. So this is a video of me in 2019, which was 5 years ago, talking about my planning for Properly Spanked Legacy, which would be the second 4 books. Look at me. I was just a baby then. I apparently wasn't still wearing glasses in 2019, which is crazy because I'm like fucking blind as a bat now. So then, we started the Properly Spanked Legacy. The first book took up with the son of the couple, actually from the last book, which was the Duke of Arlington and Gwen, their grown-up son, Westcott, who met his wife, Ophelia, pretty much because there was a big fire in London, which did happen back then, ripped from the pages of history. The second book was A Proper Lord's Wife, and that was the son of Townsend, who was the first book and the first 4. For revenge, he's going to marry Westcott's supposed fiance, but he proposes to the wrong sister. And instead of Lady June, he gets Lady Jane, who is not at all very proper and needs lots of spankings. Who knew that would happen in this series? From their story, obviously, my favorite was Mr. Cuddles. Look at this little baby. And then, of course, from the end of book 2, Townsend and Jane's story just kind of segues right into the beginning of Marlowe and Rosalind's story. Mad with Love. It was about Mad Marlowe, who was, Lord Warren was kind of the crazy one of the group of friends in the first series. So, of course, his son, who was little Georgie at the end of the first series, grew up into Lord Marlowe, this crazy kind of misbehaving young rake in London, and he ended up with another sibling, which was Rosalind. And Rosalind is a naughty girl, and you think she's really sweet and would never do anything wrong, and then she has a wild streak, and so she's a perfect match for Mad Marlowe. Their story kind of leaves England and goes all over the place, and then that led us to Slow Burn. So people ask me, why did it take you so long to write the last book? And I'll tell you why. Because when you have 8-book series and you have to finish it, you can't just be writing like any old crap just to get it done, right? It has to be the perfect story, a good ending for everybody, has to draw it all together, has to bring all the themes together of, love and how you find love where you don't expect it, and it can last forever. Oh, and tons of spanking, of course. Let's not forget that. And so that's why it took so long, after like literally pulling out my hair and literally almost being like, you know what? I'm just going to disappear. I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to pretend I never existed. And then I don't have to finish the book. Like literally that went through my mind sometimes because I was like, I can't do it. I can't finish it. But I did. Yay, me. I did it. The next question I get is, were any of these characters based on real life people? Kind of, but not really. I think the only one that really was in my mind always August, like the August in the first series and his son, Lord Augustine, in the second series. I always pictured Henry Cavill, but only at the beginning, because as I wrote the story, like August's appearance, like his face, everything, his mannerisms was completely not at all Henry. It was its own thing, his own thing. So even when characters kind of start out based on real people or a picture that I look at, like this is what I think maybe this character looks like, they always kind of end up being their own thing in my mind. The only one I would say, like the cover art for the book that just came out, Slow Burn, Elizabeth, like that is exactly how I saw her. And she did kind of look like, when I look at that cover, I'm like, that's her. And even the guy, I'm kind of like, that's definitely August, more than any of the other books, although they're all pretty. I think the covers are good and representing kind of what they looked like. But Slow Burn's cover, I'm like, that's them. It's almost like I'm looking at a celebrity, like, oh, there they are. The next question I get is, are you going to write any more books in this world? And I would say, never say never, but I'm saying probably not. I would probably start a new world for the next historical spanking books that I write, just because it starts to get to like when two of the characters are already cousins in the second series. And then if I went again, like there would be even more cousins, because then Rosalind married into the Warren family, and, Elizabeth, the Arlington family married into the Augustine family. And it's just would never, like, it would make my brain explode. So that's probably not going to happen. But will I write more historical spanking books? That's almost a 100% chance. So that's the end. I just kind of wanted to celebrate that I finally got this book out and that I'm super excited about it. And also, like, coincidentally, I had a Facebook user that wrote to me that was like, are you ever going to make any more videos? And I was like, I was thinking about making one. I am going to make one. So here it is. And will I make more? I don't know. I did rig up this really cool, like, backdrop from a bed sheet. That is amazing. I did that. So maybe I will make more videos in the future, but it's going to depend. Right now, what I have to do is start working on my next book, which right now is going to be a contemporary kind of menage book. But don't hold me to that. We'll see what happens. If you want to keep up with what's coming next, obviously you can go to my website at annabeljoseph.com. At the top, there are all these little tabs. One of them says something like subscribe to my newsletter or something like that. And you click it, you just put your name and your email. And then whenever something happens in my author life, I do send out a newsletter. Sometimes it's months at a time before I do, but I do. So you'll know at least when something's going on. And other than that, I'm still on my Facebook business page, which is like facebook.com/Annabel Joseph Novels. And I started an account on Blue Sky, but honestly, right now I'm mostly like looking at hockey stuff. And where else am I? I'm going to try to do TikToks, but the kids are better at it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of 2024. I hope to see you in 2025 with more great books. And if you watched this long, thank you.